everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of Samson Properties. And what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about 5 ways to turn your primary home into launching your investment property career.
That's right. All right, here we go. I'm excited.
Me too.
All right, I'm excited about this conversation.
I know you are. I'm excited about like 1.5 aspects of this conversation.
And I'll know as soon as we hit it. Okay, so why would you...
Do I have dancing space?
I'm sure you will find it. All right, so the reason we're talking specifically about how to use your primary residence to begin your investing career is because if you go and you try to buy an investment property, you're going to have less favorable terms. You're going to have higher interest rates. You're going to have a larger down payment. So these are ways that you can use the advantages of purchasing a primary home and turn it into movement where you can start either beginning your investment portfolio or earn up to $250,000 a year tax-free.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Okay.
Wait, and before we get into this,
yes,
I want to make this little plea for everyone's understanding. Those of you who think that investing in real estate is so evil and bad and everybody needs houses, right? Well, yes, everyone needs houses, which is why we do need investors who are more capable for several reasons, right? Whether it's time, finances, opportunities to get these houses and then be able to offer them for rent or even sale for people later who do need housing and can't necessarily
we're not
get
talking...
it. So investing is a really good thing for everyone.
Yeah, you'll see that this is some of these strategies will actually offer opportunities for low-cost living, actually, for people.
I mean, I don't know, with us raising 4 kids in all these years, and we've been down and out a few times, I don't know what we would have done without landlords who had homes big enough for our family and everything, offering to rent it to us. So that's my little boop, boop, boop about why investing is awesome.
All right, so our first strategy is to be, the first one is rather obvious, but a lot of people may not know this, so I guess it's really not that obvious.
Well then.
You can actually purchase multifamily properties, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes using residential lending. And if you are moving in the house as your primary residence and living in one of the units, then you actually can take advantage of these primary residence lending options. And then you can rent the other units out. So, for example, if you buy a fourplex,
and it's only up to 4.
It's
I don't know
only
if you said that, but it's only up to 4 units.
Yeah, if you buy 5 units or more, it's considered commercial property. That's a whole other world.
It's always investment and everything else.
So first thing is to quote unquote house hack, which we're going to dive into in a second. By buying a multifamily property, you live in one of the units and rent the other units out. And the beautiful thing about that is you can actually get the majority of, or sometimes even all of your mortgage payment paid by these people that you're renting to. And then when you're ready, you move out of the unit you're living in, you rent that one, you've got a hold property that's now cash flowing for you. And you have begun your investment journey.
I love this. I really love these. Remember when we were in Virginia Beach and we saw the beautiful duplexes and fourplexes? I'm like, oh, that's what dreams are made of.
That's right. That's right. Now, these are hard to find here in Northern Virginia, but you can find, like in Arlington, you can find houses where the basements have been converted, so it's in essence functioning as a duplex.
That's
so
true.
So that's strategy number 1, is to buy a multifamily up to 4 units. Strategy number 2
is
live in it. Yes,
okay. That's going to be the key for a lot of these things. Live in it, right?
And that's
for
all of them. Yeah, that's a good point. So it depends on what your lending program is. Some programs require you to live in the property for 6 months. Some programs require you to live there for a year before you can turn it into an investment property. And what that means is, before you move out of the property to move on to the next one. With a fourplex, you can immediately turn it into an investment property because you've got people living there and you're in the property. Same thing with house hacking, which is option number 2, is you buy a 4-bedroom house, for example, you live in one of the bedrooms and you rent out the other 3.
This is not everyone has the family life or the capacity within themselves to do such a thing. This is roommates, right? I kind of made a face. I didn't mean to. This is roommates, and roommates are fun.
They can be if you can tolerate this, but you can't. So
Lorelai would love this situation.
She would absolutely love it. So you buy a fourplex, you rent out some rooms, and if you can rent out rooms for $1,000, $1,250, $1,500, in essence, again covering your mortgage. You live there for the required amount of time, and then there are 2 exit strategies for the actual house hacking. Number one is you can move out after the required time and then rent out that extra room, and now you've got a cash flowing property. And in Virginia, you can have 4 non-related people living in the home.
Yeah,
so
up to
you
4.
can up to 4.
Mhm.
And option number 2 is you could exit the property. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a hybrid model here in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, and that required amount of time is what 2 years, right?
For the hybrid, that's if you're going to exit and sell the property.
I got
Yeah, but if you're looking for building a portfolio, a buy and hold portfolio,
Yeah.
you house hack, you live in it, then you move out and go buy the next property, and you've got this house.
And so that would be at least a year, right? Because usually a lender would
Based
require
on
you to
lender
live in it
requirements.
for 1 year.
That's right.
That's
That's
right.
And the
That's right.
benefit to this is, so let's say you get a 3.5% conventional loan,
Mhm.
and you live in it for a year. Then you move into the next house. Well, instead of putting 20% down on that second house, you can do another conventional 3.5% loan, assuming that the numbers work and the
Right,
limits
because
are
the
met.
first one would turn into your investment property, and you'd be moving into your new primary
That's
residence.
right. And we're not going to go into this, but once that other property turns into an investment property, you now have the benefits of depreciation, tax write-offs, different things like that. So
Glad
house
you love
hacking.
all that stuff.
So that is house hacking.
Yes, that was number 2.
Yep. And number 3 is Kelly's favorite.
The live and
The
flip.
live and flip.
I
Yes.
love the live and flip. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like everything I love. It's my brand soul essence. Thank you,
Yes.
Kat Karoy.
Yep.
My BSE.
That's right. Option number 3, Kelly's bread and butter. The live and flip.
It's the live and flip,
The live
baby.
and flip. Okay.
I love me a good live and flip.
Yes. So before we get into all the benefits that Kelly's going to tell us about for the live and flip,
I'll restrain myself.
Yeah, share. The financial benefits are, number 1, you have appreciation. So a house appreciates over time in general. Number 2 is you have forced appreciation. If you buy a house that needs repairs,
Yes,
and
baby.
you can
Yes.
increase the value by the repairs that you put in. And item number 3 is you can sell the house as a single person for up to $250,000 profit, tax-free. Profit. Tax-free.
Profit.
And then, or as a married couple, up to $500,000 tax-free. Consult your accountant. We are not accountants, but these are the capital gains rules as we know them.
We've actually done so well in our current home so far with the forced appreciation, combined a little bit with the forced appreciation combined with which is which? Am I forcing it, or am I like?
You're forcing it. Appreciation is market appreciation.
Yeah. I'm forcing. I'm going to remember that.
That's right.
With both of them combined, that there is going to come a time where it's like, you're going to cut me off.
We're going to have to pay taxes. Yeah.
No,
so
if you're going to cut me off, I don't want to pay taxes.
Just
if you're going to cut me off, you're going to, then we're going to be like, sell it so I can do some more.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So how do you force appreciation? You can buy a house that needs updates, that doesn't present perfectly well.
This doesn't have to be a complete dump, right? It doesn't have to be like what they're saying is an investment property.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that.
No, you can take a house that has beautiful brand new carpet and put hardwoods in, and you just up the value of the home.
Or has GE appliances and you put in monograms.
Yep, that could do it. Now, you have to be careful with the things that you're doing, like a new air conditioner, roof changes, things like that don't always give you a return on your investment.
Yeah.
But you have to make your investments give you value above what you put into it.
Yeah, and you have to think about that. Like right now we're staring down the barrel of like, we really need to upgrade our HVAC. But I know like, if we're going to sell it, nobody's really going to know that our master bedroom gets really, really hot in the summer and really, really cold in the winter. But when they come and look and see like what I've done instead, that, my friend, that will be a good ROI. Now let's talk about who this is for. Okay. This is important, right? Because we all have a tendency to flavor what we talk about based on our own experiences. And that's why I love talking about this, because our experience is 25 years together and 4 kids and tons of pets and everything, right? So as I mentioned, loving the fact that we had private landlords, owners, who would rent to this situation that is me. To raise a family, you don't have all the money and all the time, and you need more space to do these things while you're raising your kids. So it doesn't get in the way of your life like these other situations would. So it's open to you too. It doesn't matter really what your family situation is. There's still a way for you to do a version of house hacking, which is the live and flip.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and so the rules on the live and flip is you have to live in the house for 2 years of the previous 5 years. So you can, as long as you lived in the house and it was your primary residence, at that 2-year mark, you can sell that property at any time up to the 5-year mark without
That's
paying
right.
taxes on that.
So we're a Niceville house.
Yeah, so our Niceville house, we lived in that house. We actually lived in it for 3 years. We bought it, we lived in it, we updated it, and when we sold it for $130,000 more than what we had bought it for, and that money was tax free.
Yeah, and that was before all the
boom
prices were going.
Our current home is appreciated about $240,000 in the last 2 years, and if we decided to sell at that point, that profit would be tax free.
Yes.
So that's the beauty
I got
of
a ways I get to go.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of this is you can generate that cash. You do it tax free.
Yeah.
And then that moves you into.
Yeah, and right now our kids are still staying in a really great school district, right? We have that stability for the family, and then but we get to know that we're still still beginning our investment
portfolio.
process.
Yeah. So Kelly's really big on the house is your savings account, for savings account. So when you're doing this live and flip model, the only time you really capitalize on the money that you're bringing in is if you, one, refinance and pull the cash out and then use that to invest on something else, or if you sell it for a profit. So this gives you the opportunity to do one or both because you can always refinance as well.
That's right.
Okay, option number 4 is a hybrid. Okay. So we had some confusion as we were talking about this a little bit earlier. So a hybrid would be you buy the house, you live in it, you take your time because you're living there and you're renovating the house and getting it updated and everything. And then
it's like you act as if your goals are the live and flip that we just talked about, when really your goals are
to then bring in the renters and do the house hack.
Right.
So then you've got more time that you're in the property, and the benefit of doing that is you've got the time to make the house nice. Then you bring the renters in, and they're covering the majority of your mortgage over that time. So that gives you even more time to gather appreciation. And then when you're ready, you can decide to either sell the property and take the profit, tax free, or you could move out and go and get another property and keep that as a rental. So it just gives you an option there.
So for example, that is something that we're considering doing. We only have 4 years probably until the last of our kids are out of the house. So, we might still, it would be our primary residence. We would stay there the required amount of time, but we could, at this point with what we're doing, we could rent out all these rooms and go spend several months away from the roommates in like Spain.
Yeah. And keep it as our primary residence. Now, there's another option too that goes beyond this, and this is one of my favorite ones. It's called the stack, the live and flip stack. So this can be played out in any way, shape, or form. You can combine it with house hacking or whatever you want to do. But as long as you live in the house for 2 of the previous 5 years, then what you do is, so let's say, for example, you live in the house for 2 years, you move out and buy another house. You rent the first house for 3 years. At the end of that 3rd year, that's year number 5 that you've owned it, you sell it. Then the second house hits the point where that's now the 4th year of that house. Yes, and then you can sell that house. And then, so basically what you do is you get to where you're earning $120 or $250,000 to $500,000 per year tax free because you're stacking these live and flips.
Yes.
It's a beautiful
But how would
strategy.
anyone have the time to do the real good heart and soul?
Not everybody's worried about that. So that's how you. And you do
I can tell. You know what? All these listings, I can tell.
And you do have to take into account that when you do rent a property for 3 years, it's going to get some wear and tear. So you have to weigh all these things. So, but these are ways that you can do this. You can get into a primary residence with as little as 3.5% down or 0% down if you're in VA, and start your investment journey. And you can do it again by what was number 1? Oh, purchasing a multifamily. Number 2, house hack. Number 3 is the hybrid.
No, the live and flip.
The live and
flip.
To forget. Number 4 is the hybrid, and number 5 is the stack. Totally confusing. Okay.
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud. Okay. Oh, so how do you purchase these houses? Again, these are the purchase options that you have with traditional primary home lending. All kinds of options. You got to talk to your lender. In fact, we're going to talk to Tatiana about one of those options, which is a rehab loan, where you can actually buy the property and finance the rehab into the purchase. So she's going to go into all those details with us. All right. Okay. So we have our weekly question. We just shot a video on how to use your primary home as an investment and how to use that to start building your investment portfolio. And one of the things that we brought up was a rehab loan that people can get where they can actually do the repairs. So we didn't know all the details on how
Yeah.
that works. So what can you tell us about that? What can you help us understand?
Yeah, so the rehab loan, there have two options, conventional or FHA. FHA, widely known as 2 or 3K loan, it's a rehab loan. Basically, you borrow money to repair a property, right? So and you can actually do it with a purchase or refinance. So if you already have existing home and you need to get money out and maybe you don't have that much equity to take money for repairs, you can do a rehab loan. So the way it
Okay.
works, let's say it's a purchase, right? So there's a property
Mm.
that maybe it's in okay condition. I mean, it will pass inspection for to get a mortgage on, but it's dated, it's original, and you know that you need to change everything in there, but you don't have enough money. What you do is you get a bid from construction company that lays out what's going to be done and how much is going to cost labor and materials, and you present that bid to appraiser. An appraiser would give an after repair value, meaning right now house worth 600,000, but after all these repairs it's gonna worth 800,000. So they take the repairs in consideration, and so then you get a mortgage. So you can put as little as, depending on the program, you can put as little as 3, 5, or 3.5% down, but and then you get additional funds for the repairs. Let's say you need 50,000, they're gonna put them in an escrow account, and then the repairs will start after the settlement. And you can draw money in portions. Important to know that the company that will do repairs, it needs to be approved by the lender. It has to be general contractor. You can't really do it yourself, especially if you're not a general contractor. So it has to be a company, and then they need to understand that the money will be dispersed in portions after the job is completed, and you can divide it into few different sections, right? So you'll do the kitchen, we'll give you the money. You'll do the bathroom, we'll give you the money. So that's how it works. And the repairs would have to begin within 60 days of after the settlement, and
Okay.
typically complete within 6 months, but it depends, there is extensions available depending on maybe the weather, or
Mhm.
if materials were delayed or something like that. So there's always that extension
Mhm.
possibility. So it's good option for someone who doesn't have money, or it's really good option when the property is really distressed. You cannot get financing on it unless you buying it in cash or doing this renovation loan.
Okay.
I got it.
So that's basically, in a nutshell, that's how it works.
Okay.
And it's almost kind of a benefit because you've got somebody kind of looking over your shoulder to make sure that things are done correctly. And it's kind of a
Yeah.
second set of eyes that have experience looking to make sure your contractor is doing it correctly.
Right, and it depends on how much work needs to be done. The money
Mhm.
wise, they have limited or standard renovation process. If it's more than 35,000, typically they would need to have inspectors coming in and
Yeah.
Mhm.
checking it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Did you have something you?
I did have a question. So it's within standard limits. So I guess it would be difficult to get one of these and try to get like one of the more boutique construction companies, right? One of the more customs that charge a lot more, right? You would probably have to get
More, more
hire someone to do
standard.
more of the
Well, I
standard
think it
contracting.
all depends on after the repair value, how
Okay.
it's gonna be. If you just do some basic stuff, it's I would think that it depends on what they do, what type of materials,
Mhm.
and if the cost will be justified with after the repair value, then it's fine.
And it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Very
I
good.
like that option. I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Because then if it's a distressed property, it would be understood that it doesn't have to pass all the usual inspections in the beginning, right? Because that's going to be figured into the repairing.
Exactly. That's why when the property is in really bad condition, this rehab loan is the only option when
Okay.
you're trying to get a mortgage, because we don't require, in regular situation, we would require repairs to be done. If there
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
let's say, electrical wires are exposed, right? We're gonna say it's a hazard issue, so it
Uh-huh.
needs to be fixed before we loan the money. In
Okay.
this situation, because we know it's gonna be done and we're holding the money in there, so it's a special loan. That's why we allow them to settle even though the property does not meet the standards.
Mhm.
Got
Okay.
it.
So it could be an as-is property then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And this is conventional has something and FHA has something, but does VA have anything?
VA does have, we personally don't work with this type of program,
Okay.
so I don't know much about it, but I would imagine
Okay.
it's the same type, but we don't work with
The
it.
Similar.
VA buyer could maybe find something.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's helpful.
You're very welcome.
All right. If anybody needs you, how do they get in touch with you?
Call me at 571-245-3000.
All right.
Right.
Very good. We will
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.